Someone,
Charles?
Someone. His name was either Charles or Rick. Just some white dude. You know what I mean? Pasty. Looks like moldy cheese.
Yep.
He probably has a wallet phone.
He's definitely has a wallet phone.
Yeah.
For sure.
No PPO? Nope, no PPO. HMOs are terrible? Hey. That's what us Texans got to deal with.
Yeah. That's why Hitch is a PPO or whatever.
That made me feel so much better. Jorge goes, I don't know, whatever.
No, you started speaking. I was like, truly no idea what you were talking about.
Really?
The HMOs and PPOs.
Wait, look at you guys' insurance cards. I bet you both PPOs.
Mine's downstairs.
Okay, well, don't worry about
somewhere.
In the Louis wallet.
He said insurance card. I was like, mine's downstairs too.
You gotta be kidding me,
Jordan's
bro.
in a one-story
You
apartment.
gotta be kidding me. It is confusing.
Nah. Ever since we went full time, ain't no insurance.
No, the first time I ever passed out was after my first wet dream. And that's why I was so scared.
Oh my God.
Tell me about that.
Yeah.
After your first one.
Honesty hour, baby. Honesty hour with TST.
I was like, what was it? It was either 5th grade or 6th grade. And it was the first time it had ever happened. And I woke up and I was so scared. And I got out of bed and then I went over to my my bathroom and the walls just caved in. The walls caved in. And then from then on out, when you're in 6th, 7th grade, all the guys were like, yo, you jerk off? Like that, like they ask each other that. It's so true. In middle school,
it is the most true, bro. Imagine. Okay, I want you to picture 6th grade Blake. Just think about it, dog. Like I'm double Hollister poloed.
Oh, dude.
Church on Sunday. I got intramural, dodgeball.
Yeah.
And then I'm out like waiting for a carpool. And the grade over the two dudes from the grade above me were like, yo, Blake, you jack off? I was like, yeah, dog.
Yeah, dog. I be doing that shit.
I remember getting in the car and I was like, I don't know what that is,
dude. I was the same way. I was like,
no. They were like, you jack off? I was like, of course. I get in the car and I'm like,
back to video games. Just like
I'm playing Pokemon Silver. I was like, yeah, of course I jack off.
What kind of fucking question is that, dude? Of course I freaking.
Bro, so up in
No idea what it was.
Literally,
no idea.
Dude, deadass from 6th grade until I was a sophomore in high school. Dudes would be like, so you be jacking off a lot, right? And I was like, yeah, for sure. But in reality, I was too scared to do any of that because I thought I was gonna faint. I thought the next time that stuff came out, I was gonna go down. So then from any time from that moment on where I woke up due to a dream such as the non-dry, I would sit there and look at the ceiling and not move. I would just go, okay.
You're like focusing on your breathing.
Because if I stood up, I was gonna fall. That's how I thought. And I thought that for 6 years. Like it was that way for a long time.
Bro, I'll never forget in college. It was like sophomore year at college, dude. And like I didn't really have I don't have bad psoriasis, but like it's on my elbows, my knees.
Tell you had them.
It's on my elbows, knees, head, and one of my feet. So I'm chilling there, showering, dog. And I'm washing. I look down, I was like,
oh no.
Oh, that sucks.
What the hell am I looking at?
Oh no.
I got this red little patch of something. I was like, brother. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, I ain't never had sex and I got an STD. How did I do it? How did I do it?
You're like, you're the first.
How?
It's funny looking back because when in the moment it's terror, but when you grow up,
Oh, it's horrible. I mean, bro, go ahead and Google red patch on
right.
your and see what you find.
It's all STD.
Yep.
Dude, that is hilarious.
Yep.
Wait.
And he was like, I know, and he was like, I can give you some women for that. I know it's probably, not great to have red nuts there with the ladies. And I was like, yeah.
No, all my bitches. I hide it.
Yeah.
I hide it from all the bitches. Yeah, you know
I
me.
appreciate that doctor.
You know me,
Yeah.
doctor. Yeah, hey.
I'll let her know when I marry her. Asking 4 years. I got you, baby.
Oh, it's so good. Middle school guys are fucking weird. And, like looking back on it, it's fucking like it's like they brag about how much. I remember in 8th grade there was this dude, and he bragged almost weekly about how much he jacked off.
Dude,
I
I
was
was
like-
too nerdy. I was too nerdy.
What?
Like they just wasn't. I had such a circle. Like it was literally
But these
Sean and Tweez and a couple sports homies. No one else. Like I lived a different world. I stayed out of all of that.
I mean, so did
until
I.
someone
Yeah, I was about to
asked
say,
me,
I
and
pretty
had
much
to
stayed
feel
out of
cool.
that.
Dead ass, so did I. I'm talking about a guy in class a class that I went to.
That wasn't a homie.
Yeah. I mean, no, he wasn't like a home, like not ever somebody I would
Yeah.
hang out with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was me, soccer, church, school.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so the only time I ever got that branch out
Crossover
conversation
conversation, yep.
was from school, because the soccer kids were always weird too, to be fair.
Yep.
Yeah. They give
And
you all
literally,
that.
and
Yeah.
the dude's sitting, it's a class photo, and the dude's in his khakis, and he's sitting like this next to the girl he's, about, right? So he's feeling like this, dead ass in his khakis, gets a hard on in his khakis, and everybody starts laughing. He's like this, sitting next to her, looking at her. Whoop,
Are you serious?
no cap.
What?
And literally, they're in the photo, and everybody starts laughing at him. He's like, I don't know what's happening. In his cargo shorts, got a hard on in his cargo shorts for the school picture. Tragic.
That's
And
terrible.
that's a boat.
And then the teacher's like, that's okay. It was, yeah.
Dude, you know how you said yesterday that I'm gonna be like whenever I have a kid, I'm gonna be dad, full dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only reason, I mean, I agree with you. I didn't say it yesterday, but I agree with you because because that's how my dad was.
Yeah.
Dude, the funniest, and now that I'm an adult, the most adorable story is I was the only child, and my dad was the youngest of two. So my dad never got the talk. His brother got the talk, and then they just kind
gave
of
him the talk once, and they were like, we can't do that again.
right.
We
They
did
just
that
kind of
anyway.
let his brother
Let
give
him
him
figure it out.
right.
Yeah, let him figure it out.
And I think that I don't know if that bothered my dad, but he wanted to do it right. So
Yeah.
Yes, please.
So-
I will back you up with a story of mine if it's too uncomfortable.
Okay,
so I'm
okay.
ready.
So my
Yeah.
dad was like, "Hey, we're gonna go to the mountains." We went to this. Have you ever been to Hanging Rock?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we used to go to Hanging Rock all the time. And he was like, "Hey, we're gonna go up to Hanging Rock for a weekend. It's just you and I. Is that cool?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "And by the way, we're gonna talk about some stuff over there." I was like, "Okay." So he brought a cassette.
Oh
No.
my goodness. I am excited.
He brought like a 10-part cassette tape
No.
package from like Billy Graham. It was like somebody like a high
speaker.
level speaker
Yeah.
pastor, and
Yeah.
oh, your camera. Oh no, you're back. So we it was a tape every 2 tapes a day. We woke up. We stayed at Airbnb, or not Airbnb at the time. What was it called? Bed and breakfast. Woke up, had breakfast, listened to a tape, went B&B, went and climbed a mountain, came back, ate dinner, and had another
Cassette.
another cassette. And we
Damn,
sat
dude.
down.
That's
and,
a schedule.
and
dude.
he-
That's a confidence.
bro, I learned it all. I learned everything. I learned everything, and to the point where
Wait,
I don't
that's
really.
pretty legit though.
No, it was
what the
sick.
heck?
Pretty legit.
It was
low
Dude,
low
he was
key.
sneaking it in, bro.
It was-
Just like
it was
we'll watch
sick.
the videos at the end.
Yeah,
Yep.
dude, it was sick. Passport to Purity. I think that might be it. I think that might be it. But the only thing I ever remember is because whoever the speaker was very thorough about everything. Like very so that there were no questions, so that the parent that was listening didn't have to explain. And at one point, he just said prostitute and then kept going. And I made
I missed some.
I made like a trouble face. And my dad stopped it and he goes, "Do you know what a prostitute is?" And I was like, "No, I don't." He goes, "Well, it's a person that sells their body." And I was like, "Sells their body?" I was like, "How the fuck do you how do you sell your body?" Like I had like you know what I mean?
No, I can see
it didn't like register.
Yeah, it didn't click. It didn't click.
And I remember that so vividly. You got it? You said you had one?
It is the only little bit of information that I remember looking back on, and I physically died laughing. And I remember this, and I talked with my dad about this recently. Yeah. So he would talk to me on the way to school because on the way to middle school, we live kind of far out. So like we had like a 15-20 minute drive to school like every day. So you just kind of sprinkle in little bits of conversation. And my dad's always like ask a question about a question. He's like, "What do you think about, or what do you know about this?" You know, he's like, it wasn't like sit down, I'm gonna tell you. It was like, so, I'm sure you've heard a couple things, but like, what do you know about this?
I can see
basically
that so
at one point, he's probably trying to tear me away from Pokemon Crystal as we spoke about sex. Okay. And like, because it was low key, it was hard for me to put down Pokemon. So I'm chilling there in the car, and the conversation was so rich. I was like, I'm gonna close the Game Boy. I need to know what this motherfucker's talking about right now. And he was like, when a couple is having sex, there's a transfer of things, and that is what creates the baby. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, what
transfer?
What do you mean? And I was like, there's a what? And I was like, is it pee? And he was like, no. and I was like, what? And I was like, but how do you not pee? And he was like, trust. He was like, I remember
trust your body, you'll do it.
How do you not pee?
Dude, I could not get past the how do you not pee? So I was like, but what if you pee instead? And he was like, trust you won't pee instead.
But what if
you were like,
dude, so I think I got the talk when I was like, what, 14, 13? I mean, I don't know how ages work, but
middle school.
Yeah, middle school. Yeah. But when I was in like first grade, I think it was first grade, like way before I knew anything about anything, I think I was going around telling people that I had sex.
No,
dude. I was going around telling people.
You're like, dude, I got the talk now.
No. This is way before the talk.
This pre-talk.
Wait, I didn't know what
pre-show.
No, I didn't know what sex was, and I was just telling people I had sex with my cousin. I was just telling everyone.
Stop.
I was so young. I was just telling everybody.
You didn't know what sex was?
No.
You just had no idea what sex was.
So then one of the students.
No, out of context. TST.
So then one of
Wait, what state were you born in?
North Cackalack. Just kidding, Florida. No. So one of the kids, I still remember his name, Vanderveen. That's his last name. What? I still remember.
What?
I still remember. Because I was like, this motherfucker told on me. And he was crying. I went out of the hallway because I had to go to the bathroom. And he was out talking with the teacher, crying. And dude, I don't know how, this is legitimately like first grade.
Yep.
And
no.
and so he was crying because apparently he told everyone he was having sex too. And then the teacher was like, "How do you know what that is?" And he was like, "Oh, well, Davis told me. He had sex with his cousin."
Dude, the whole first grade is just saying, "Yo, we had sex.
Right.
We're all having sex.
We
We're all having sex. So then the teacher calls my mom and says, "Just so you know, this is what Davis is saying." And they were like horrified. So, so my dad, this is the first time he tried to give me the talk.
Yeah.
And we went to a Sonic and we were in line at Sonic. And my dad starts telling me just the basics. Hey, you know how you got this? Well, girls got this.
Yeah.
And if you put that in there, this happens. And I'm sitting there, and he said, I didn't say a word. And I don't really remember this, but I remember how he told it. He said, I didn't really say a word. And I was just sitting there listening to him. And then, so at the very end, he was like, "So do you have any questions?" And he said, I looked up at him with a straight face and said, "Yeah, Dad. Why do monkey brains the size of peanuts?" Why do monkeys have brains the size of peanuts?
You know.
He did.
He looks at me and goes,
"Okay, that
"Okay."
worked. Got that."
He goes, "I don't know."
He's like, we're gonna have to revisit that in a couple of years.
Yeah. He's like, "I'm gonna check that off as an incomplete."
I was just way too young. I did not know what the fuck was going on.
But I remember sitting there, and this is before I'd ever kissed a girl, and I was sitting there, and I was like, "What is making out, dude? Like, how do you, like, wouldn't your teeth hit together?" And he was like, "No, it's a tongue thing." I was like, "A tongue thing?" I was like, "What? You don't kiss with your tongue?"
Yeah.
Dude, that's what my thing was. What is French kissing? Like, how is French kissing?
Yeah, French kissing was more popular as a term than making out was.
Right.
In middle school.
Middle school. And I was like, how is French kissing different
French
than
kissing.
American kissing? Like, what is the difference
Yeah.
between the two?
Yep.
Oh, dude. 'Cause we were we have such like sheltered kid memories.
That's so funny.
So good.
A tongue
A
thing.
tongue thing. It's a tongue thing.
No, and I remember he was like, "You know how you get the icing off of Oreo?" I was like, "Really?" I was like, "I'm using my teeth, son."
You know how you get the ice out the or I've never.
Oh, that is so good, dude.
Sex ed with TST.
Sex ed with TST, dude. It's so good.
No, it was gold.